All right, here we go.
All right, welcome everyone. Is the Danvers Accessibility Commission on January 22nd, 2026. I'm JD, I'm the chair. For anyone who's watching, hello everyone, I'm just making sure we have a quorum. It looks like we do, which is nice. And even if you take off early fawn, I think we will still have a quorum, so we should be good for that. All right, so this next one is something we've kind of, I don't know if we've been keeping minutes or not, if I'm being completely honest. I don't know if anybody else can chime in about that. I know the last thing I really remember about it was us talking about, I had brought up having like AI transcribe for the meeting minutes. But I don't know if anybody really remembers where we left off on that.
That's the last thing I remember too.
Yeah.
I think Lauren may have taken notes at one of the more recent meetings, and I mean like 3 to 4 meetings ago when we talked about it. That's
You know what? Now that you say that, I think it was Lauren, not Christy. I think that was taking the meeting minutes. But I'll check in with her and double check on that for you, Matt. So we don't have meeting minutes to approve right now. So we're going to move along to public comment. But it seems like we don't have anyone from the public present. Moving right along. So what we're doing right now is we're just going to vote. So basically, Amy and Karen are technically alternates still. And now with Mara moving away and leaving the commission because she's going to sunnier pastures in Florida, we have to vote to recommend Amy to full status since she has seniority over Karen. Can we have a motion for a vote to recommend Amy's full membership?
I so move that Amy be voted to be a full member of the Accessibility Commission.
Can I get a second?
I second.
Okay, awesome. All in favor of recommending Amy's full membership to the Danvers Accessibility Commission, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, the ayes
Aye.
have it. Cool.
Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
You earned it. All right, so next on the list. So as far as that goes, so now what's going to happen is I'll write a letter of recommendation to make Amy a full member, and that'll go to the town, and that's just kind of the formality aspect of it, but you'll be a full member once I submit that and the town gets a hold of it. So next up we have the Move Like King MLK Day update and the HRIC grants. So I don't know if everybody knew this or not, but I thought we had kind of discussed it at the meeting, so I feel like everybody knows this. But I submitted a grant for, they have like these mini grants from Human Rights and Inclusion Committee, or it's really from the Friends of Diversity, which is like kind of like their friends sponsor group. And I applied for a $500 one for the cash prize for the film festival, and Amy applied for one for $500 for the human library project, and we ended up getting both. So we've got 500 to go towards the prizes. We've got 500 to go towards the human library, and we've got the $2,000 from the parking violations, and that should cover the prizes and the human library, no problem with some left over. It was a really nice event. It was good to see a lot of people there. Other than that, I don't know if I have much else to add to that. If anybody has any questions for right now regarding this. Nope. All right, next up, we have the Fight for 504 Film Festival prize discussion. All right, so did everybody watch the films? Awesome,
Yes.
awesome. All right,
Yep.
are you guys comfortable giving like a little first, second, and third, your personal opinion?
Sure, but I sent them to you in email. I'm a little fuzzy. I think I said I felt the middle one where there was a lot of with the clock ticking.
Yeah, that's like kind of the ambiguous anxiety one. We've got that one.
Yeah,
Then the one
I
that was
gave that
about,
one first.
okay,
I gave the other one with the parents second, and then the more sort of informational one with the graphics as third.
what did you like most about the number one?
I just thought because it was very artistically done that it might resonate with people as opposed to being sort of more black and white informational. Um, and because it was only students in it, I thought the other one was great. I really thought that the one with the parents in it was really well done too. Um, but I think I liked the artistic nature, and I thought the clock really captured the anxiety. And I think it's useful. I thought it was useful to have anxiety be brought into the consciousness of that might be what it's like to have sort of an invisible disability like that sitting in class. You look normal, you look like you are a fully functioning student, but you're freaking out, and it can be easily managed by a 504. So I thought that was really effective. My daughter,
I,
she thought
I,
that the one was
oh,
first.
really? She liked it. Did she give it the same order of votes?
No, well, she reversed the order. So she thought the one with the parents was first, and then the more artsy one was second, and then the graphics was third.
Did she say why, out of curiosity?
I don't remember.
Yeah,
don't remember.
the first one, it was effective in that, like, it was able to make you feel like that first person view of that person and kind of put you in their shoes, which is effective cinema, in my opinion. Amy, what are your thoughts?
I was thinking similarly to, can you guys hear me?
Totally.
Okay.
Yep.
So I was getting a message just saying that you couldn't. Um, so I was thinking similarly that I thought that the artistic nature, I think when I came to watching these, I thought about like what would the viewer take away from it in terms of like impact. And I did feel like, that one that highlighted anxiety and the 504 and bringing in teachers and like kind of it showed this like promise and hopefulness. Like it was like, here's the lived experience, here's how we can support this, and like you don't really know what's going to happen next, right? So there's this other piece of it, but I thought that that was really well done. um and I also viewed with family. They thought
Nice.
similarly. So um, and then different from Fawn though, I thought that the informational one was kind of the second. Um, Thinking again, like what do you take away in that way? But it was really hard to pick because they were all so really well done, like in all honesty. Um, but I did like the informational one as well because I felt like it was something that, could be readily used like on social media or like, I could see how it could be expanded on a platform. Um, so I had like a really hard time deciding, but ultimately that was what the conclusion that I came to. But the acting and the one where they were highlighting eczema and 504, like that was also really well done. So it was really hard to decide. But ultimately that's where I landed.
All right, Karen, what did you think?
I have to apologize. For some reason, and it actually didn't come to my realization until it was closer to the meeting. All of my emails from you, no matter if I star you or whatnot, has been going to my junk mail.
Oh,
And so I have a lot of junk mail to get through to get to what you have sent.
Oh,
and I
that's
have
okay.
not. But I need to figure out, I'm not technically savvy, but I've done everything that my house can think of to get you to not be
Okay.
into junk. I even have a subfolder for emails that come from Danvers Accessibility Commission, thinking that was going to help, but no such luck.
I'm probably flagged because I'm notorious for sending out spam emails to everybody.
Adam is a contact, Karen.
Oh, I think I already did that because it comes up when he comes into my email as JD Martez. Martz, excuse me.
That's okay. You gave me a little Latin flair.
There you go. But I just need to be better at searching through it, not when it's just meeting time.
I'll just send you one just of the like a clean, fresh email just to you of the film so you can check them out.
That would be
And then,
fantastic.
and then just send me like your 1 through 3 after you watch them, just so
Got
I'm
it.
still gonna talk to Julie over at the school and Alan, the principal, to get their opinions on what they thought. And I don't think I have Lauren's input yet, or I might have Christie's. Did you watch them, Matt? I don't, you didn't have to, but I was just curious.
I have not, no, but I will.
It's like probably like less than 15 minutes, all 3 of them combined. So it's not much of a time commitment.
No worries.
But yeah,
I will.
in my opinion, sorry, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, I will say that I was just like when we originally had talked about this and kind of like what I was envisioning how things would kind of go, like where students would take it. The films didn't show up in the way that I thought that they might, but I was so like pleasantly surprised, pleasantly surprised, not presently. Um, pleasantly surprised that like the way that their interpretation really took it to the relevance of like where they are as students, do you know what I mean? Like it I was just impressed with them. Like I just think it's amazing that we have such creativity in our students in town.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny. A couple things like the fact that we ended up only getting 3 films, which is the exact amount of prizes. And then like it was a pilot, so I'm hoping like the next time I try to run it, like maybe maybe we make it more like not a general film festival, but like more disability general than maybe the 504 aspect tripped them up. I'm not really sure. Um, but there was a lot of initial interest, and when I went and spoke, the room was pretty packed. But yeah, it'll be cool. And I was definitely surprised. Like I expected there to be more visible disabilities on display, but I guess if I really thought about it, you'd either have to like get a prop wheelchair or prop, mobility aid, or find someone in the school that utilizes one. And I didn't notice anyone that had a mobility aid when I spoke. So maybe that's why it was easier for them to kind of go the route of not necessarily invisible disability, but like less visually obvious disability. Um, Especially like with the eczema. The anxiety one, in my opinion, was the best cinematically. They had some decent sound design on it. It did drag a little bit at one part, but that's me being nitpicky, like kind of towards the end. And I felt like they were really close to committing like I wanted them to, but were just had their foot off the gas a little bit in terms of keeping it too ambiguous. Um, the eczema one was definitely unique. It felt like I could feel the passion in it, regardless of production ability. Because you could clearly see the difference between those two on a production side, but it felt more personal. But it didn't. It wasn't accurate exactly in how the 504 works, in that like it was like she brought her own 504 plan, which is it's more of like a collaboration that everybody sits down and talks about it, as far as I understand. Um, and then the infographic one, I did say like it could be anything. I was a little disappointed, if I'm being honest, in that it was just felt like a YouTube infographic video, and not something more human, or not necessarily personal, but yeah, just like a little more human. So my order would be anxiety, then eczema, and then um, the infographic one. But like the passion in the eczema one definitely outweighed the passion in the other one for me. But the other one definitely was much more polished and well made as a film goes. So I was like, do I look at this as like just a film festival, or do I, how much weight does like the theme carry? And I was like, you kind of got to go with both, I guess, because I'm a production guy, so I'm always looking for like someone who worked really hard on the post production, because getting the sound to sound like that and the video to look like that isn't easy. It doesn't come out of the camera looking like that or sounding like that. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the film festival. I'll say it's a success just because we got films. And I'm hoping, I feel like I have an idea for next time of like, because I didn't think about this beforehand, but like Julie over at the school mentioned that DECA was helping to market it. And I was like, oh, if I had thought to kind of contact them before even like talking to the students to kind of promote that, so that they would then know and come to the meeting, like the initial kickoff meeting, like maybe that would have been a good idea. But at the same time, like you can't control kids. You can't necessarily guess what the hell they're going to choose to do. So I'm kind of like, okay, we'll see how it
I
goes.
in my helping out with the essay contest in the MLK subcommittee, for the MLK event, like they did an essay contest this year, and I was helping out with that. And I learned a lot as well. And I think one of the pieces that was really helpful for, having so many essays submitted from students across town, um, was some of it was like getting the teachers, right, to like support and do like that way, right? And then especially for the younger students. And then I think the other piece that was helpful was probably like some of the social media posts, because the town like posted about it and stuff like that. So maybe parents put some pressure on as well, or just reminded students, hey, there's this thing. What about this thing? You should do this thing. So I wondered about that for our if we do this again. So
Yeah. I thought it's like, it's like, okay, you get like the initial interest, and then when they start working on it and they realize, oh, there's like a lot of back end work, like maybe they got intimidated by other students' projects and thought theirs maybe wasn't going to be good enough and kind of quit before starting. And I get that, but I don't care. I kind of said to them, I was like, I don't care if you shoot on your phone and kind of like, run and gun it and make it real rough. Like that's okay. Like we're used to that aesthetic now because of social media. And like like I said about the eczema one, like the passion kind of screamed louder than the low production quality. But yeah, whatever would help them. And I guess pressure from the parents would probably be like, honestly, like the best option, as far as, okay, you signed up, you got to follow through with it.
I wonder too about even just like to your point, if they're getting intimidated, like to workshop it, like even just do like, oh, I can show you some basics so that people can. I don't know how much in depth you went with that, but I wonder if that would bring students that maybe aren't taking those TV production classes or anything like that. Um,
Yeah, that was the thing because I wasn't really sure how much Julie was doing in terms of that in the classroom. Um, since who knows what her like curriculum was set up for, and who knows if she had room to kind of fit that in. But I kept like being like, hey, I'll come in. Hey, I'll come in. I'd love to sit with the students. Like if, I'll set times to come in and I can sit down with them for the production or the pre-production or the post-production. But none of it ended up coming to fruition, I guess. Because maybe there just weren't enough students. I think a little bit of it was, I think she saw the students kind of dropping out like flies a little bit and didn't want to hurt my feelings. Like I got that vibe a little bit. I kept being like, don't worry about it. Even if we get one film, I don't care. Like it will still be somewhat of a success in my mind. But yeah, I don't know. I'll have to I'll have to do like a debrief with her and Alan, or maybe just her, and see kind of like how she felt about it from the inside. Since a lot of that's still kind of a mystery to me right now. Anything else on the film festival from anyone? Anything else to add? All right, moving on. So next we have human library discussion and planning. I just put this there so we could kind of start, or not start, but kind of pick up where we had left off with the human library and just kind of talk about next steps for all of us.
yeah, so I think the next step sounds like we need to complete the kind of application process. Um, and then through that, becoming the publishing partner, then we're able to access the materials, which I think will be the next piece that we need to do to kind of launch what we're going to do next. I know that we do have kind of like a framework that was shared from a different local library that had done I can't remember where, Reading, Woburn, I can't
Duxbury, I
remember.
thought.
Someplace, yes. So we have kind of that framework, but now I think it's just a matter of like getting those pieces going and maybe digging into to see what the steps were, like next steps wise into that paperwork that was sent over.
Cool. So so the paperwork you're referring to is what we would register with.
Yeah,
And when that paperwork's turned in, is that when they'll be expecting the money?
I believe so. I gotta go
Okay.
back in and take a look and see, um, because that original email where you got those resources from Duxbury, it like spelled it all out.
Oh, okay.
So, so that I think just digging back into that to see what the time frame was, and then I think it would be like, I don't know if we need to do some pre-planning ahead of time for like time frame or anything like that. I don't know what's included in that. I can't remember off the top of my head, rather, what's included in kind of that application process or
Well,
Yeah,
I
and I
think we have
think
to get our own books. I think we have to find our own books. And to me, that's
yeah.
the biggest
right.
time consuming, sort of somewhat overwhelming, in my opinion, project. I'm not quite sure how to
Yeah.
encourage that.
And what did we decide for amount of books that we thought would be like a good amount to have? Like five, three,
I don't know.
20?
I think I may have missed that discussion.
Well, what do you think?
I mean, I think it probably depends on how we want to structure the actual event. I know from the video that I thought was really helpful, and maybe that was the one from Duxbury. I can't remember, but where she really spelled out exactly how they went through it and feedback she had. I can't imagine having more than one book at a table. To me, that doesn't encourage
No,
that kind of conversation. So, I mean, 3 to 4 to me sounds kind of reasonable given what I have in my head as what I envision this might become, given that, I agree with what she said. You need to have a way for the books to say, I need a break. So we need, proctors, we need people available who are volunteers kind of wandering around and monitoring. And I think, we're all happy to do that from our committee, right? But even so, that's people that we need that
I'm look
would correlate with the
I'm
number of
looking
books we have.
looking at the materials right now, and it looks like they used 5 books.
Gotcha. Yeah, I agree in that like 3 or 5 could be a good number. We wouldn't want to go so many that we'd feel disorganized, but we don't want so few that there would be like potentially a long line for each table if that's even happens, or for the book to just get burnt out because they don't have the pressure isn't really spread around. Um, and in terms of books, I am throwing my ring in the hat to be a book, so we can subtract 1 at least from whatever that number ends up being. But I guess I don't know, where do we start? Like as far as like because if we decide on the time of year, that kind of determines our options to some degree in terms of locations. So like if we did it, during the warmer months, we could be outside potentially. Um, but is it too loud outside? Is it too impersonal outside? Do we want to stay inside because it might make it more intimate?
I'm inclined to think inside, but both of the events that I have seen video or still photos of have had it outside, and I've kind of been perplexed by that because to me that does not feel as intimate or comfortable asking or answering personal questions. So I think maybe I'm in the minority here. It obviously seems like outdoors seems like a pretty comfortable venue to multiple groups that have put this on.
I'm inclined to agree with you, I think.
Are they treating it kind of like a picnic? Not like a picnic, but you know what I mean? Like in the videos that you've seen, fun. Was
No, they
that
just
kind of the setup?
no, I mean they use picnic tables, but it didn't certainly have any kind of festive vibe. I just got the feeling that that was how they chose to set it up. I think they had um awnings over the tables for shade. They were grouped pretty close together. Um and it was that was it, but it was both that I saw were outdoors, which I just thought was interesting.
The
What do you
only,
think it was for visibility, like to get people
oh yeah, like people
to
driving by and
stop
stuff.
by type of thing? Like when you
Maybe.
say outside, I visually think like the library, for example,
Yeah.
although that
Yeah.
is not flat or conducive to
Ugh.
a lot of people. But that was my thought, is it like outside the library and it's like an outside sitting area type of thing? And they did it for visibility purposes.
Right. I think that's a really good point. I mean, what I couldn't really gather or don't remember noticing was if the location was one that would encourage walk up traffic. Like maybe they were hoping that people would casually walk by and say, "Oh, hey, what's this? Yeah, I'll do that for 10 minutes." Um, so I'm not sure.
I guess hearing that, maybe I am changing my opinion a little bit because I could see putting it down near the kind of gazebo pavilion so that the books are on like a flat surface so that they're on the accessible part of the lawn. And that would, yeah, create visibility, but I think it could also take pressure off the books because it's not just like a room with nothing else in it necessarily. People could kind of converse and it might not echo around in the room and make it harder for people to hear the books.
It does
Um,
put them further away from facilities though. Like if anyone needed a break or if anyone needed the bathroom, they now have a huge schlep.
true, true. I
But
guess I
depending
was,
on how long the event is, maybe that's not as much of a concern. Like if it's a 45-minute event where the books talk with 3 people for 15 minutes each roughly, and then we take a break, and then we have the next group scheduled. Maybe that's not an issue.
I think that's a good way actually to think about it. Kind of do like, seatings like they do at like fancy restaurants. You like, okay, we're doing the first group, 15 minutes, and 15 minutes sounds like a good chunk where people could glean some stuff from that. I don't think we should have the overall timing of the event be too long, especially for this first one. So I think 45 minutes to an hour, maybe an hour would be like a good one, because an hour can go by pretty fast. And especially if people aren't there right on time. I don't know,
Yeah,
maybe
people are never there right on time.
right.
I
That
think
could
having
be
some guiding questions will be important.
absolutely, great point. And we can workshop those together as a crew to kind of get at least, I don't know, how many you think we should have for like workshop questions, like 5
2
or
or
10, because they
3.
probably, like, would we make them specific to the books or would they be more general?
I was thinking specific to the books, but maybe they don't have to be. I just think depending on what the books are, sometimes the questions might be, if we leave them too vague, they might not be as powerful, or sort of
Yeah,
effective, I guess.
I
I don't
think
know.
I
I,
agree
I
with
guess
that.
I'm kind of feeling like if people want to engage in this, that 2 or 3 questions might be enough to kind of light the fire of the conversation, so to speak, and then the 2 people might just kind of take it from there. It might lead to other things.
I think I agree with that. Yeah, 2 to 3 questions. Probably 3. I don't know, 3 is the magic number in my mind for some reason.
Yeah.
But I do like the idea of them being somewhat curated so that they can elicit a more meaningful answer. I like that. So we wouldn't really be able to develop them, I guess, until we have our books.
hmm
But I think that's okay. Um, does anybody have any ideas about, like, I don't know, have any of you heard from anyone or told anyone about this that would potentially be interested in being a book?
I haven't mentioned it to anyone because I wasn't actually aware. I think because I missed our last meeting, I wasn't actually aware that we had gotten the money to do it. Or somehow I missed in my own brain that this was actually definitely going forward. So
Oh, we
that's
only got the
really
money on
awesome.
Monday.
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah,
awesome. No, I hadn't. But I'm just thinking about it. I mean, kind of anyone could be a book. We all have something that affected us. I think some of those topics may be less interesting, right, to other people, but it's, I mean, it's hard to get random people to volunteer. But I think, like you said, if
right.
we do word of mouth, we should be able to find some people. I haven't though.
Yeah, I run into this issue with Seen and Heard where it's like, I don't want to like hound people or ask them because I want them to be okay being vulnerable. And if I like kind of drag them onto there and then I'm filming them being vulnerable on camera, I'll feel super dirty. So I wouldn't want to do that. So I I see that issue in terms of finding the guest, because you want it, the best kind of guest is the one that organically, is attracted to it and wants to be part of that. Um, I
Well, what if?
know, what were you
Sorry,
gonna
go
say?
ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, we've all met Neil. I'm sure he would agree to it. But he can get off track really easily. I'll talk to him. He was actually calling me before this. But I won't like say it explicitly yet because I don't want to get him super excited. And I don't even know if he'd get excited or not, to be honest with you. Um, but I could float that with him. Um, and that could be someone potentially. I think there might be some other people I could think of around here. I'll do some thinking as well. But yeah, yeah, it's got to be like someone who like wants to do it, not someone who's like on the fence about it.
Well,
'Cause
are we feeling that we want all of the books to have some relationship with a disability, or do we want to open it up to other groupings? Because I'm just thinking about a lot of the examples that are used on the Human Library website are, people who are in favor of gun control, or a veteran, or someone who struggled with drug abuse, or um, so there are other categories that, I'm just thinking about you, Matt. Maybe we might be able, if we wanted a veteran, we would certainly be able to, I would think, reach out to some of your population there that might be interested, willing. But again, I'm just not sure what the focus is that we want to have here, especially so if we're thinking we might only want 3 or so.
I think so. We're the Accessibility Commission, so I think we kind of stick in that realm somehow, but that doesn't necessarily only encompass disabilities and people touched by disabilities, because that could be people who are differently gendered or something like that.
I think
And
there's a space for intersectionality, I think, for sure.
yeah, and when you think about it, like the idea of people with disabilities and people touched by disabilities, that's going to be still a lot of people. And like, even if Matt were to find a veteran that's at the senior center, I think we have a pretty high chance that that person has some form of, disability, or yeah, something that, is a large part of their daily living that alters their experience. But, even drug addiction can be seen that way as well. So
Yeah.
it's like a lot of that stuff, or a modern veteran that has, PTSD, like that's easily one I think that would be interesting for a lot of people. Um, I think we, we avoid. I mean, not that I'm expecting any of you to want to do the gun control one, just because I feel like that's pretty far outside of our realm. But like, and then I thought for a second, I was like, oh, what about like someone who works in local politics and is a advocate or something? But that could, I feel like that might be a recipe for something less personal. Um, just my experience with politicians. But
What
yeah.
about the young man who was the victim of the
Oh,
violent crime recently? I know that he's become um, celebrity's not the word I want, but it's the only one that's coming to my mind. He's someone that I think people have really esteemed in terms of how he's come through that horrible experience, and I wonder if he would be willing to consider being a book.
does anyone know how you might get his contact info? Because I'd be happy to reach out in the capacity of saying, just telling him about this event we're building, and kind of saying like, I'm going to be a book, and we're just looking for people with different lived experiences. I know you're very
I,
popular in the town if you're interested, but no pressure or something like that.
Does someone remember his name? I know that there was a lot
yes,
on
his name
Facebook.
is Chris Anderson. I know somebody. I can think of somebody who I think is close with him and the family that might be able to connect you with, JD.
Okay, yeah, that would be great. I have met him before, so it wouldn't be, I don't know if he would remember me, because there was a lot going on during that time, so I wouldn't fault him for forgetting me. Um, but yeah, I think that's a good point. Um, do you think people would just ask him about I don't know, that's not really up to us, I guess. That
Well,
was
I
the
think
one thing that,
maybe we can help guide that with the questions that
true.
and I think if I recall from the videos that were sent out, I did watch them a while ago. I didn't rewatch them close to this meeting enough to be sure, but I think that the way that they tried to sort of protect the books was they asked the books ahead of time, are there any topics that are off limits? Or are there any things that you really would prefer not to talk very much about? Or to reassure
Gotcha.
them that if there was anything that they didn't want to talk about anymore, that absolutely they would say that's all I want to share about that, and that was the golden rule. And then that was then passed on to the readers.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. We definitely have to have some form of like prior knowledge and protections in place just to make them as comfortable as possible in this space. Um, but okay, so next actual steps for this are we have the paperwork. Who wants to fill out the paperwork?
I don't mind doing that. I think
And
that
then,
some of the paper, it asks you for like a timeline and stuff is what I'm remembering.
oh, okay,
So
okay.
I think we have to do some pre-work before we can actually fill it out.
Okay, so that's not, I was thinking this was like, you do that, then they send us kind of like some more materials and then we build from those materials. But if this is really just like the start of the show, then yeah, I guess we have to nail everything down. But I like what we've come up with so far, um, as far as protecting the books, how many books we're doing, what kind of topics to cover, and potential people. Um,
Yeah, there's
When-
definitely, I think I'm thinking of like people, and I know that when I start to like after we get off this call, I'll start to think of like some people because there's like so many phenomenal people. Do you know what I mean? And their
oh yeah,
stories and just there's there's just so much, and I think I don't know. Anyway,
On the video too, they mentioned library safety volunteers. Did anyone recall seeing that?
mm,
yeah, it's in the paperwork. It specifically says that you need like a certain number of volunteers, and the paperwork that was shared, I don't think that it said library like safe. It did talk about safety concerns.
I think we're
Um,
talking about two different things because I actually haven't seen paperwork, but I saw like a
just
how-to
kidding.
video.
It says library safety volunteers right here. Like
Oh,
when I looked at when I scrolled down one more.
okay.
Um,
I don't really
yeah,
know what those are, but from the video, it sounded like they undergo specific training. And so I made a note wondering if we know if our library system currently has anyone who is trained as a library safety volunteer.
I don't know. It
Okay.
specifically says that they're a group of library workers trained in community safety and de-escalation techniques, can
Yeah.
support people.
I could ask Shilpa about that.
Okay.
She might know because she's got her finger on the pulse of the library, the local library at least.
Because if we
Um,
don't have anybody currently trained, maybe that's something that some of our members could get trained in.
oh
I would
yeah,
certainly be happy to pursue that. And that way we could not only be volunteering in our commission capacity, but we could be, trained in de-escalation techniques if needed, just to protect the books and, keep it running smoothly.
Yeah.
I like it. Sorry, I'm just making a quick note about Shilpa.
I think maybe we need to try to think about a location because that might determine, like you were saying, JD, at the beginning, if we choose outside, that gives us a timeline. If we're choosing indoors, we have more flexibility with the timeline. But if we do it outside, we need to make sure we have a rain location or a plan. So we need to have awnings or an indoor, backup. But I'm wondering, like, and this is this huge circle of where do we start, right? But I think maybe the location and the time
I
of
think you're
year.
I think you're right because I don't know why I didn't think of this before, having done tons of productions in Massachusetts, but you can't trust the weather report more than a day or two out. So I've had to cancel tons of shoots because of the New England weather. So maybe just for our own, sanity, we go indoors so that that's just one less variable we have to contend with.
Matt, do you think we could possibly hold it with you? And I don't know if the rest of the commission would agree with that, but I'm just thinking like it's so easy to get into your building and the parking is so easy.
Yeah, I can't
More so
imagine.
than the library, more so than, you know, other buildings that I can think of right now.
Well, thank you for shouting us out because that's true. More people need to know that. I can't imagine it'd be a problem. It would just depend on what's happening with what around whatever date you want to choose. But I can't imagine it'd be an issue.
Would
I
we
like
need
that.
to choose a time that the building is already open? Which does that mean no weekends? Like what would our options be?
Yeah, you're very timely in that because I just had a question like that come up for something separate. And we historically have not done weekend events, but we can do it if they are town sponsored events. So if it's a weekend, it's not a barrier to being done. It just involves a little bit more planning on the back end to make sure the building's open and all that stuff.
Would this be considered a town sponsored event? I'd like to think so,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, this
That's-
commission is a special agent of the town, I would say, for lack of a better phrase. So that wouldn't be an issue.
I mean, I
Well,
just threw that out there. Do people have other thoughts on that? I'm not trying to say that's the plan. I just thought of it right now.
I mean, I think that's pretty great because that kind of keeps it in the family, and we have like that's another pretty rock solid one. I feel like with Matt, that we won't have any variables to contend with, and honestly, that could potentially open up an outdoor one in their space just because there's like the maybe one of the parking side of the parking lot or I guess it's like kind of gravel and then the grass fields. That would be kind of tough. But
Well, the
anyway,
awning in front, like the whole front entrance is covered.
Yep.
oh yeah,
So, like, I wonder if there's the option of setting up maybe a card table or something at the very far left end, so it was still covered, but they had privacy, or you know, at least they're not exposed to everybody walking through the front doors. If we wanted to try to do it outdoors.
The other option for outdoor, we do have a patio area, and
Yeah.
if you do set it up closer to the window side, there is an awning that retracts out. It'd
Oh.
probably be more conducive to one book in that area. But you could also move it down, like right behind me. It's all covered by an awning. It's just a strip of concrete. So it could work. I guess you'd have to just come out and kind of get a sense of like the lay of the land to see if it would give people enough room and privacy. But we
yeah.
are
I think
flexible.
I think if we even have a sniff of rain, we just go indoors with it. But if we just look at the patio in general with no awning or overhang, what do you think we could fit on there? I've never actually seen the patio.
You might
You
be
could
able to
probably
get
fit a
2 or 3.
couple.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Can we have like a tentative agreement to kind of say we go with the senior center for now?
I will give you a
I'm in
tentative.
favor.
Yeah.
You could also take a little the one of the books could go down to the bridge over to the walking path.
Oh yeah. That's the troll book. We'll have an actual troll.
Guys, I have to sign off. I'm sorry, but JD, when you hear from Shilpa about the library safety volunteers, could you maybe let me know, and then I can do some research about the training involved and get that back to our group.
Sounds great.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Sorry, I have to
Yeah,
leave
thanks for
early.
joining us, Fawn.
Thank
Have a good
you.
night. Okay, so that's good. I feel pretty good about at least us feeling good about a location, and a couple people potentially, and what was the other thing we kind of nailed down? I thought, I don't know, or like kind of like the realm within that the realm within these books will. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but. You get, do you get what I mean? Like we're
Yes.
not, we're all kind of sticking within the realm of accessibility to some degree. Speaking of, we had a former member, Jody, Do you think Jody would be interested? Does anybody know Jody well at all?
No.
No, okay, never mind. All right, anything else we want to talk about this for now? I feel like we can nail down a lot more when we have more people at the meeting.
I agree.
Cool. All right, good to move along. So the next one is the Walk Massachusetts update, and I do not have an update for that. And I did talk to Christy briefly about it, so I guess I think what's happening right now is it's just in Noah Levitt's hands in terms of scheduling it, but Christy is following up with him about that, so we'll have an update on that on the next meeting, because it's not something that's going to happen right away anyway. It's going to take a while, I think. If anything, I would suspect it happens mid to late summer, but don't quote me on that. And then the next slot, or did you guys have any questions about the Walk Massachusetts thing?
No questions about it. I just keep on thinking about the bus stop at the Liberty Tree Mall. It keeps
Oh,
plaguing
God.
me, and bothering me. Anyway,
Well, that'll be a good one to bring up, because, and you probably won't be the only one to bring it up either.
no, I don't think that I will, but it's like bothering me. Partially because I see it often. But I just anyway. Yeah, it's a thing.
Should we just fill out an incidents report, have it on record, and then we can reference that when the walk comes up or something?
Maybe. I don't know. I think somebody else already filed something.
Oh, really?
I do.
Matt, do you have access to the incidents reports?
Not like readily at my disposal, but I could find out where to get them probably.
Yeah, I think Jasmine was receiving those, like, because you know the form we have on our DAC page on the town website.
Oh, I think they go to Jen Breaker directly now.
Oh, they
Uh,
do.
I'm pretty
Don't love that.
maybe not actually, now that I say that. I don't know who it would have been, who would have gone to after her, so that would be my only thing, because it would have been either
I think I
Jasmine
think
or Giuliani.
you're correct, Matt. I think they go to Jen Breaker.
All
Okay.
right.
I will ask, let me make a note of that, because I will ask around about that.
I can do that too if you'd like.
Yeah, if you want to talk to Jen, I'd
Yeah.
really appreciate that. Thanks,
No
Steve.
problem. And
Um,
would you want it to go to anyone else, or what's
I mean, I doubt many come through, if any at all. So if you don't mind having them come to you, just so that we have a much cleaner channel.
sure. All right,
Thanks.
I'll inquire. Yep.
And then the next section I just left open for this, the new, I don't know what the role name is, but like kind of like the head of the therapeutic recreation in the Parks and Rec department. And Christy's been talking to her, and she agreed she wanted to come on. I think I just got the response from her about when. Let me just double check that. Yeah, she said she would be in, yeah, Julia Ryan, she'd be happy to attend the 26th, the meeting on the 26th, which maybe that's next month. But I thought that would be a cool person for us to talk to, since she's all about the making it work and inclusivity and accessibility for all of the rec programs in the town.
They've started to launch some events and activities already, which is really nice. She's also on the Apple, excuse me, on the Apple, I can't even think right now. The Apple program that we're in, that's in collaboration with the Federation and Danvers Public Schools, and she's really great. So it's pretty exciting.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to meeting her. I think we'll have some cool conversations, and I think it's going to open the door to some nice collaboration opportunities for us to kind of help support her. But that kind of leads us to new business at the end, unless anybody has anything else to add about the therapeutic recreation or common threads line. I kind of figured like
I think the human library was kind of gonna put the common threads piece
that's what
off
I was gonna say.
the docket for a minute. Um, that was kind of what I was thinking.
I like having it there almost like a sleeve that we can fit different activities into that kind of fit it. So like human library is almost like our current common threads activity, and then we
Yeah.
can workshop something new once we get through that. Any new business? Going once, going twice. All right. I guess that concludes it. Can I get a motion to end the meeting?
So moved. I mean, you can get a motion from me. Sorry, it's been a long week. I'm really not feeling great.
Honestly, I think it's been a long week for everyone because like my conversations with Christy, like the two of us, the crap we had to go through this week is wild. But it's just whatever this week is just not great. And it was like super cold yesterday, and then it like kind of warmed up today, but it kind of snowed last night, and now it's gonna drop again, and we're gonna get a storm. I'm like, what is going on?
100%.
Whatever.
I saw you on Monday and I was at the MLK event and then I was like my throat felt a little scratchy at the end of that event. Like not my throat,
Oh,
but like my voice was a little off. And then I came home and I was like full on sick.
oh, that's the worst. Yeah, I was like went well, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be a great week, and then Tuesday came around. Yeah. All right, so you gave us the motion. Karen, did you second that motion to adjourn the meeting?
I will certainly second it.
Okay. All right. All in favor of adjourning the meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Yay.
Aye. All right, the ayes have it. Meeting over.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks,
All
everyone.
right, thanks everyone. I'll see you guys on the next one. We'll touch base in between,
For sure.
but